14 knockouts, 0 submissions, 4 decisions. Is Steve Garcia any good? Steve Garcia takes on David Onama in this week's UFC Apex main event, and people have got shit to say.
Just kind of more just like I've seen a lot of just like comments about it being almost like they love the fight, but they think it's a lackluster main event. And I'm like, if you love seeing, blood
Yeah,
and
like the kids
chingazos thrown, bro,
are
you don't. Yeah, I was like, you don't. You must be a
respect
casual,
bro.
like.
You must be a casual.
Yeah, Steve, these casuals don't know you, but don't you worry, we hardcores will be watching this Apex card from the opening prelim. Though, jokes aside, these two upcoming Apex cards are absolute shit. UFC was like, y'all have been having too much fun with these past few cards, so now these two Apex cards are there to lower our expectations again. But we don't care about that, as this video is about Steve Garcia, so let's talk about him. Now let's take a look at his fight style, UFC career, strengths and weaknesses, then make her final verdict. Steve Garcia, a long, kinda skinny fat with that Mexican build, 145er. Steve Garcia started training MMA at the age of 15, his background being of kickboxing. He doesn't have great accolades like some, but doesn't really matter though. Even Chris Barnett has 2 black belts. One in Jiu-Jitsu, other in Taekwondo, and he still got ragdolled by Hamdi Abdul Wahab on the ground. Steve Garcia has made his name known after going on a 5-fight knockout streak. It ended in his last fight against Calvin Kattar, though even in that fight he knocked Kattar down in the 3rd round and almost finished him too. Steve is a true knockout artist, with 14 of his 18 wins coming via knockout. Win, lose or draw, this guy is always entertaining, he gets you your money's worth. He's a big guy for the featherweight division, might not look the most in shape, but he still has great cardio. He stands 6 feet tall with a 6'3" wingspan, almost the same size as Sean Woodson. His notable wins are Chase Hooper and Calvin Kattar. And he's only got 2 losses in his 10-fight UFC career. Both losses came up a weight division at lightweight, so he's undefeated in his current division, the featherweight division. First going over the Chase Hooper win, this one was an absolute mismatch. Chase Hooper's inferior striking was on full display in this one as he got knocked down 3 times in the first minute of the fight. Chase was getting demolished on the feet, so he tried to mix it up with a takedown, but he was so rocked after the 3 knockdowns he couldn't do shit. So after failing the takedown, he went for an overhand right. Steve ducked it, countered with a hook to drop Chase for the 4th time and get the TKO. Now his latest win against Calvin Kattar that made him ranked in the top 15. He started off the fight looking a bit nervous, throwing all types of kicks, storm set kicks, spinning wheel kicks, you name it. But as the fight went on, he eased into it and put a boxing masterclass. Beautiful head movement, he outboxed Kattar to the point Kattar became a wrestler. Now with this one, his knockout streak did come to an end as he won via decision, but that doesn't mean he didn't do great in this fight. I actually think this was his best showing. Well, other than the Chase Hooper win, that was just demolition. In his Kattar fight, he showed us that even if he doesn't get the KO, he can still be in the fight, not gassed out, even after the crazy pace he puts on, insane pressure. So yeah, great win against Calvin Kattar. Now let's talk about his only 2 losses. Let's start with his only loss where he got finished. It came against the Chinese prospect, Maheshat. So the fight only lasted about a minute, and the first real exchange they had, Steve Garcia just got slapped out cold. Steve was blitzing in as he got caught with the jab, followed up with the cross that slapped him. But the thing is, that fight happened years ago. Steve has changed a lot since then. He doesn't just blitz in with his chin exposed anymore. Yeah, that was a lie. Steve hasn't changed shit. He still has his chin exposed when he blitzes in, and he has been caught a couple of times because of that, though his head movement has greatly improved, but still he has this hole in this game. And that's just who he is. I don't think he's gonna change it because it's in his style. Kill or be killed. And in his UFC career there have been 7 knockouts and he's only been on the receiving end once. Almost all of his KOs come from people landing a bit on him, gaining confidence and staying in range with him just to get cooked by Garcia. Now Archer's lost to Luis Pena where he lost by a 30-27 decision. And this fight was taken by Garcia on 7 days short notice, upper weight division and lightweight, against a grappler, so just keep that in mind. But this fight showed us a real problem Steve has, which other opponents have taken advantage of in his other fights too. In all of the 3 rounds, Luis Pena just took his back and coasted. Not once could Steve Garcia break the body lock of Luis Pena when he was held up against the fence, or even reverse the position when he was held up on the ground. Just the same story all 3 rounds. He just got his back controlled and he couldn't do shit about it. And he's faced the same problem in other fights of his too, like against Malcozel Costa, he faced the same problem. Got his back taken, controlled for the whole round against the fence. Now let's take a look at his stats. 49% strike accuracy. Now for someone like Garcia who throws a shitload of output, this is actually great. 5.18 significant strikes landed per minute and only 2.20 absorbed per minute. Lower than I thought, but understandable because he has great head movement. 89% takedown defense. This seems kinda wrong because I've seen him taken down way easily to have 89% takedown defense. And 2.26 knockdown average, the highest in the featherweight division. And here's how Steve Garcia is most likely to win a fight. 0 submissions in his entire career, though doesn't really need submission as he's got lethal ground and pound. His strengths are punch power, head movement, reach, and heavy pressure. Weaknesses are knees up the middle, distance management, and chin. Okay, so let me explain these 3 weaknesses. So first, the knees. Steve Garcia loves to dip his head. He's got great head movement, but it's kind of like a blessing and a curse at the same time, because he can avoid strikes with it, but it can also lead him to eating a knee to the face. Like in his last fight against Calvin Kattar, he almost got caught with it. And for the distance management part, Steve is a kickboxer, but he doesn't know how to time his kicks. Most of the time when he throws a kick, he's in punching range and gets countered. And lastly, for the chin part, I'd say he doesn't have the worst chin, but not the best either. He gets in brawls a lot and we've seen him dropped multiple times. Now before the final verdict, let's talk about his upcoming opponent, David Onama. Some might think of David Onama as a grappler as he's been grappling more often in his latest fights, but deep down he's a striker who wrestles when faced with adversity on the feet. Though he does have great back takes, and that is one of Steve Garcia's biggest weaknesses. So I think Onama might win the first round or 2 with his grappling, stall it against the fence or take Garcia down, but he's not much of a submission threat, so it won't matter much. Onama has a bad gas tank. He always gasses out after the first 2 rounds. Even in his fight against Nate the Train, he won the first round, but in the second round he got turned into a fucking punching bag. 10-8 round for Nate the Train. Now just imagine Steve Garcia landing these shots. He'll put his lights out. So the final verdict is, there's no way Onama will be able to hold Garcia down for 5 rounds to win a decision. Steve Garcia might not have the best scrambling, but the thing he does have is a better gas tank than David Onama. So I think the only ways for David Onama to win are maybe he catches Steve Garcia dipping and he catches him with a knee, or submission on the ground, because if he doesn't finish Steve Garcia and he gets reversed, Steve Garcia has got some nasty ground and pound. But other than that, I think Steve Garcia wins via 3rd round knockout. If it was a 3-round fight, I'd lean David Onama, but it's a 5-round main event, so I'm picking Steve Garcia in this one.